So, real talk. When's the last time you actually felt excited about going to Starbucks? Like genuinely excited, not just, well, it's there and I need caffeine. If you're struggling to remember, you're not alone because Starbucks is going through it right now. Their profits are tanking, they're closing stores left and right, and people are just over it. And I'm going to explain exactly why this is happening. The glory days. Let me take you back for a second. Starbucks wasn't always this corporate giant that everyone loves to hate. It actually started as this small coffee roaster in Seattle back in 1971. Just three guys selling coffee beans and tea. That's it. No fancy drinks, no frappuccinos, just beans. Then in 1982, this guy named Howard Schultz joined the company. He took a trip to Italy, saw how coffee culture worked over there, and had this light bulb moment. In Italy, coffee wasn't just fuel you chugged to wake up. It was social. People hung out at coffee bars, talked with friends, made it part of their daily routine. Schultz wanted to bring that vibe to America, create this third place between home and work where people could actually relax and hang out. Problem was, the original owners thought he was crazy. So he left, started his own coffee shops, crushed it, then came back and bought Starbucks from them. And honestly, his vision worked. Starbucks became that place. Round tables so you didn't feel isolated, cozy atmosphere, free Wi-Fi, no pressure to leave. By the year 2000, they had 3,500 locations. People genuinely loved it. Then everything changed. Fast forward to 2020, and the pandemic completely flipped the script on everything Starbucks had built. The whole concept of hanging out indoors with strangers, that was over immediately. Suddenly, drive-thru coffee shops were winning. Places like Dutch Bros started taking off because you could just grab your coffee and go. Starbucks tried to adapt with mobile orders and pickup-only locations, but they were stuck in this weird middle ground. Here's the thing. Almost 60% of coffee in America is now ordered through drive-thrus. That's the new reality. And Starbucks was built on the exact opposite model. The corporate squeeze. Now, Starbucks will tell you they still want to be that community hangout spot. But let's be real, they're a $90 billion corporation, and they've done what every massive corporation does. They cut costs, squeeze more profit out of customers, and prioritize speed over experience. Think about it. Newer Starbucks locations have way less seating. They focus more on drive-thru and mobile orders because that makes more money per hour. And they've jacked up prices to whatever they think people will pay. But here's where they messed up. That $8 coffee felt okay when you're sitting in a nice, cozy space with good Wi-Fi. It feels ridiculous when you're ordering from a drive-thru and drinking it in your car. The competition problem. And while Starbucks was busy cutting corners and raising prices, the competition got way better. If you want cheap coffee, you can go to McDonald's or make it at home for like 50 cents. If you want good coffee, there are tons of local independent shops that actually care about quality and know what they're talking about. Starbucks is stuck in the middle. Not cheap enough for budget shoppers, not good enough for coffee snobs, and definitely not the cool hangout spot it used to be. Now it's just known for union-busting, overpriced drinks, and being binnically fast food with a green logo. The China disaster. Here's something wild that most people don't know. Starbucks is getting absolutely destroyed in China right now. They used to dominate there. At their peak, they had over 40% of the Chinese coffee market. Now, under 15%, in less than a decade. What happened? A company called Luckin Coffee came in and did exactly what Starbucks should have been doing. Cheap drinks, super fast mobile ordering, tons of customization, literally half the price of Starbucks. Luckin now has more stores in China than Starbucks does, even though Starbucks had a 20-year head start. And now, Luckin is opening stores in New York City. When the first Luckin opened in China, Starbucks was so scared, they bought advertising space on an empty lot across the street just to remind people they existed. Meanwhile, Luckin was offering $2 coffees to new customers. Guess which strategy worked better? The bigger problem. But honestly, the China situation is just a symptom of a bigger issue. Society has changed and Starbucks hasn't kept up. That whole vision of sitting down for an hour to sip coffee with friends, that's basically dead. People are too busy, too broke, or just don't want to anymore. We're more individualistic now. We want our coffee fast, cheap, and convenient. We don't want to pay $8 to sit in an overcrowded store with nowhere to sit because they removed half the tables. And meanwhile, coffee prices are through the roof because of tariffs and bad harvests. Regular inflation is bad enough, but coffee inflation is literally 10 times worse than average food inflation. So Starbucks is trying to raise prices to cover costs, but customers are already tapped out and have a million other options. What they're trying to do. The CEO has said they're going to stop raising prices so much and focus on making stores feel cozy again, bringing back that community vibe. But I think it's too little, too late. They spent years training customers to just mobile order and leave. They've closed stores, laid off tons of employees, and pushed AI automation. Now they think some renovations and better lighting will fix everything? The problem isn't the furniture or the paint on the walls. The problem is that Starbucks stopped being what made it special in the first place. It's just another fast food chain now, except it costs more than fast food and isn't as good as a real coffee shop. Where they're headed. Here's my take. Starbucks is gonna survive because they're massive and everywhere, but they're never getting back to their glory days. They'll be the coffee shop you go to in airports, train stations, highway rest stops, the convenient option when nothing else is around, but not the destination, not the hangout spot, not the place you actually want to go. McDonald's CEO recently said that low and middle income customers are just not coming in anymore. Traffic is down double digits because people are either skipping meals or eating at home. Even cheap fast food is too expensive now. The same thing is happening with Starbucks. They're not fancy enough for people who want good coffee, but they're way too expensive for people who just want caffeine. And I don't think fancy renovations or AI baristas are going to change that. Look, I'm not rooting for Starbucks to fail or anything, but I'm also not going to pretend they didn't do this to themselves. They chose profits over people. They chose convenience over quality. They chose being everywhere over being good somewhere. And now they're dealing with the consequences. For me personally, I'll stick to making coffee at home or going to actual local coffee shops when I want to treat myself. The only time I see myself going to Starbucks is when I'm traveling, and it's literally the only option. And I think a lot of people feel the same way. We've just collectively decided we're done overpaying for mediocre coffee in stores that don't even have anywhere to sit. Starbucks used to be special. Now it's just another corporation that forgot why people like them in the first place. But what do you think? That's just my take. Maybe you still love Starbucks and think they'll turn it around. Or maybe you abandoned them years ago. Drop a comment and let me know when you stopped going to Starbucks regularly, or if you even still do. I'm curious if this is just me or if everyone's really over it. And if you found this interesting, hit that like button and subscribe, because I'm going to keep breaking down why big companies are losing their touch and what it means for all of us. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.